This is Cassandra Harris Lockwood, and this is The Hot Seat.
Hi everyone, welcome to The Hot Seat. I'm Ron Kloffenstein, and this is a Media Monday in The Hot Seat. So today we'll be talking to Raabe, who owns the
Tramontaine Cafe.
Tramontaine. We always call it the Tram, so
Always
it's hard to
call it
get
the
used to
Tram.
the full name here.
Thank you.
We're going to talk to her in a minute all about the coffee house business, how she got into this, and also how that is a place to celebrate and to promote and to experience the arts. But first, here are some headlines for arts and entertainment in the Mohawk Valley for the week of Monday, April 22nd through Sunday, April 28th. So, this Saturday is the 11th annual Independent Bookstore Day. Every year, indie bookstores around the country hold a national celebration on the last Saturday of April. Look for events that will take place at the Keaton and Lloyd Bookstore in Rome and the Treehouse Reading and Arts Center in New York Mills. MVCC is hosting the TakaCon this weekend, and you can see live plays at Utica University and at the Ilion Theater Club. I'll have more about that later on in the show, but now let's meet Raabe. Now, I've known you for a long time.
Just a little while.
But
I've had
I really
a few
don't
projects.
know. Yeah, we've done some projects together, and I know you've been in this business for a long time. Before there was the Tram, there was Virgo Batley a Frog,
Yes.
there was Chancey's,
Correct.
and it takes a lot to have a business, be independent, and to start one and run one and to succeed and to be in it for all these years. And I'm wondering, what is it that first drew you to the idea of having your own place and starting
Starting businesses at all.
Yeah.
Just being able to make my own decisions on how we portray ourselves to others, as well as opening up venues and projects that other people would appreciate, that we like as well. Finding a place that we would like to be involved in, and we saw a lack of that for ourselves, so we made it.
So I would think that the finding a place is that the first step? Like, if someone wants to have a business, and when you wanted to have yours for the first time,
Right.
Chancey's was your first, right?
Well, Chancey's was my first business. It was a vintage clothing store
Mhm.
downtown on Columbia Street, 458 Columbia.
I
Now
remember.
a patch of grass.
Yeah.
Actually, that project showed up to me.
Really?
I had been walking past a piece of property for years with a friend of mine, and we noticed that it needed some attention, and we decided, let's contact the individuals that own the property and see what we could do, and then we went from there.
So you used to walk by the location on
Correct.
Columbia Street, and you would see the storefront and think to
Right.
yourself, "Hey, I know just what should be in there."
Correct. It needed some work, it needed some help, and we noticed that that location could have some up and coming projects such as that, and so we decided to do it.
So once you decided back then, and what year was this about? The 90s, I would imagine, right?
It was the 90s, so around late summer of 92, 93.
So when
is
you
when we
decided
started.
that, this is the place, I want to rent this place, I'm going to make
Right.
this into a store, how did you decide that would be the business you would go into, the vintage clothes?
The vintage clothing. I had honestly just taken some classes in school. I had decided to, when there were still books to look up,
Right.
business items, I would look up information on books, on business, and then I would learn more about the vintage clothing business as well. So, and I just liked color, pattern, texture as it bleeds into all my coffee house businesses as well. So, and collecting.
Right. So now, what made you decide when you got out of the vintage clothes business to kind of evolve or expand into coffee houses? And I think your first coffee house was Virgo Bat and Leo Frog.
Correct. So Virgo Bat and Leo Frogs opened in '99, but we had the vintage clothing store at the same time as well. So I had moved the vintage clothing store to Bleecker Street. next to Off Center Records on Bleecker Street.
Oh,
with
so
the
you had both at the
encouragement-
same
Correct.
time?
For the first couple of years of Virgo Bat and Leo Frog's Coffee House on Columbia Street, we had the vintage clothing store on Bleecker Street.
Wow.
Yeah, and at one point then we decided to meld the two together for a very short time and move to Lower Genesee Street.
So now, how difficult was it to have a business in two locations? Even if they were close, I mean, you had to
Right,
must have
right.
run back and forth.
Well, that's where good friends and good employees come in to help. For the coffee house, we were open in the evenings primarily at that time, and the clothing store we were open during the day, so we
I
could go
see.
back and forth easily that way. Because we were more Virgo Bat and Leo Frogs was more of an evening coffee house venue space. We didn't do as much food, so we weren't open for lunchtime like we are now with Tramontaine Cafe.
Okay, so with the Virgo Bat, and I remember it, but I don't. I remember like you had coffee and like
We had
dessert
coffee
type
and
stuff?
desserts
Yeah.
more so, and then we had bands and performers at that time, and that was 1999 to 2001. We were on Columbia Street, and then in 2001 to early 2003 we moved to Lower Genesee Street.
So when you decided to go into a business and for the first time, had the coffees and teas and
Absolutely.
the desserts and stuff, it must take, what do you have to do to like prepare a location to make the food, to like sell the food, even to sell the drinks? I would imagine you
Sure.
have to buy a lot of equipment and
Well,
do
there's
some
always
modifications.
lots of equipment to look into. We were actually, Garrett Ingram and myself, we would go to other cafes and coffee houses. There was a wonderful place in Yorkville called Slackers.
Oh
we
yeah,
had
right.
found,
I remember that.
So we went there and we went to other places. I personally have always wanted to have a place that did not revolve around alcohol or the need for alcohol to be part of an entertainment environment.
Right.
So that folks would say to us that we would have to call it a coffee house, even though it was more so a non-alcoholic venue with coffee.
That's a really good point. It's a place that people can go to like in the evening on a weekend night and not be like not be around that kind of stuff. Like if they want to
That's what
avoid
we've
that.
always encouraged.
Yeah, and it's all like healthy food and coffees and stuff. Now, before you did Virgo Bat and Leo
Leo
Frog,
Frogs.
you went to other coffee houses and
Correct.
stuff. Were you a fan of coffee? Like,
Not
do
at
you
all.
have a passion for that? No.
Not at all. It was more so the idea of the venue itself. We learned to appreciate coffee and beverages through opening the spot.
And it makes a good like alternative. So there's
Correct,
something fancy
correct.
you could drink there as opposed to
Right,
drinks and
right.
stuff. And
Absolutely.
once you decided that was going to be your thing, and it was going to be a coffee house, and coffee houses, I think this would have been like, well, I was going to say this was something people would have known about coffee houses
Sure.
because of Friends.
Because
this
of
was the
Friends. So we
90s,
were very similar in makeup to what folks were seeing on TV when it came to that television show. So we were comfortable chairs, couches,
right.
fun things on the walls, things
Yep.
like that. Absolutely.
But you must have had to learn a lot about different kinds of coffee and like how to make cappuccino and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
and-
We had, at the time, the company that we dealt with had someone come in and show us how to create the beverages and use the machine
Oh,
properly.
nice. Yeah.
So,
How do you make a cappuccino?
with an espresso machine and steam and milk and espresso and
So-
espresso and coffee are basically the same, but espresso
Really
is
concentrated,
a
right?
concentrated version of coffee. Correct.
And then you take
So it's a
the-
lot of equipment, but
It is a lot of
Yes.
equipment. So, once you make the espresso, look, what do you do with the milk in order to make it?
sure. So first you steam your milk, and then you froth it to make sure you have enough froth to cover
That's like the
beverage.
bubbly stuff you add to it.
The microfoam, the bubbly stuff, and then you pull your shot of espresso, and then you pour half the milk in, and then you put the espresso in, and then you top it off with the foam.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so like the foam kind of offsets kind of like the strength and maybe the bitterness a bit of the coffee,
Sure,
and it makes a nice
sure.
balance
A
there.
lot of coffee beverages are ratios and formulas of milk to coffee.
Is
milk
that
to
hard
espresso.
to learn?
I don't know if it's hard to learn. Everyone has their style of it, an amount of froth they require or appreciate when it comes to a cappuccino proper.
Uh-huh.
But
And like one of the things that you do there is you get to know your customers and stuff. And you
Absolutely.
probably after a while know like when someone orders a cappuccino,
Right.
like how they like it to taste.
absolutely, most definitely. I mean, with the Tramontaine Cafe, we evolved from being a coffee house during the evenings with Virgo Bat and Leo Frogs to then now we're more so of a lunch establishment. So we do soup, salad, sandwich. We do our own baked goods and of course coffee and
Now-
other beverages. But we are also leaning towards going to more of a zero proof environment as well.
What would that be? Zero proof environment.
That is so. In the past, folks have always equated a Shirley Temple to being a preferred beverage in a bar.
Oh, like a
that was
non-alcoholic
a
thing.
non-alcoholic beverage, but there are
Yeah.
a lot of companies out there now that are making beverages and mixers that aren't only sweet beverages.
Okay.
So we can do like a margarita,
Really?
margarita with no alcohol. We can do different things. I've never been a drinker. I'm actually allergic to alcohol, so I chose. This is
Yeah.
another reason for having the coffee house
Yeah.
because I'm not a drinker.
So it's a good reason to go in a different direction and
Correct.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. I'm not really either, but a margarita would be kind of interesting without the. It would
Without.
taste good without the
Right,
alcohol
right.
because it has that like kind of sweet and sour taste, you know. So that sounds good. So now, it must have been a big step to go from just coffee and dessert to
Right.
having lunch and food and soups.
Right,
and,
right.
Can you tell us about that process a bit?
Sure, I'm not a foodie on my own, but I learned a lot through friends and folks that had joined us early on. My good friend Jackie helped us do food early in our opening in 2008, and I just learned by looking up wonderful recipes online. I use books, I use different cookbooks, and then the flavors just come and work for me.
Had you naturally been like a good cook before this?
Not at all.
No, so you didn't teach yourself.
I'm very much self-taught,
Great.
trial and error, of course.
Uh-huh. Now, what are some of the things that like you learned as you taught yourself to cook? I mean, you must have had some things that like you put on the menu that weren't as popular as you anticipated, and
Right. Well, I'm mostly...
and some things that were more popular probably than you
Sure,
imagined.
absolutely. So we do traditional turkey, ham, chicken salad. Our chicken salad, I decided to make a little different than everyone else. I add
Oh.
some spices that folks aren't used to.
I'll have to
but
come and
I-
try that.
I've been told it's a really good chicken salad sandwich, so things like that. But the same with the soups. It's all about the way that the spices look and the way that it smells and the way that the flavor hits me. That it seems like it works really well.
And so, what considerations do you have to? What do you have to consider with that? Because like, you may have a idea for a dish that's so popular, people will like it, but it would cost so much to make. That's not
Right,
worth it to
right.
sell. And like, you must have learned a lot along the way about like, this would be a good thing to have, but if I buy this ingredient for this one thing, I
Right.
can't use it for other stuff. And
Sure.
there must
well,
be so many things that
that's
go through your head.
sometimes. Sure. Well, a lot of times what happens is I will not have a specific soup on a specific day. So folks will call in or see online that day I have that item available. So that makes it more of a specialty item. We don't say that on Tuesdays I have tomato soup or on Wednesdays we have broccoli cheddar soup, but folks are always surprised and happy when they see something that they appreciate.
So like a special for each
It
for each
usually
day.
is a special, but we don't tell you until that day.
Right, right. Now, does this require you to go shopping like every morning?
Not every morning, at least, well, not myself per se. I send some folks out. Thanks, Garrett. A lot of times, today, Monday,
Yeah.
is our big shopping and big stocking day.
Like for the week, you buy the
For most of the week,
staples
yeah,
and stuff.
the staples, and then usually 2 or 3 more times during the week. But we try to make sure that we have as many non-perishable items
right.
up front, and then I just go out for the other things later on.
So then, on a day like this, Monday you're open on Mondays, right?
No,
Oh,
we're
you're
not.
open.
No, Sundays and Mondays.
So that's why your
traditionally-
shopping day is
right.
today.
Traditionally, Sundays and Mondays we are closed. We are open Tuesday through Saturday. at this time.
Now, would you be on a day like this on the Monday when you shop? You must have to think ahead, like what will be maybe those soups on Thursday and
Yeah,
Friday.
mostly.
And stuff like
I mean,
that.
sometimes it just comes to me when because tonight I'm making our chicken noodle soup, but keeping our dietary restricted friends in mind, I always leave the macaroni and the noodles off to the side and ask later who would want those. So my gluten-free folks are always
I was going to
taken
say,
care
as
of.
gluten-free folks, we
Absolutely.
appreciate your consideration on
Yeah,
that.
most definitely.
So I have to ask, and we'll talk about this when we come back from the break, but where did you come up with these wonderful names for your coffee houses?
Sure.
So I'm going to ask you this as we come back from the break. We're going to take a break right now, and I'm talking to Raabe, who from the Tram.
What I'm looking for.
This is Cassandra Harris Lockwood, and this is the Hot Seat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hot Seat on a Media Monday. I'm Ron Kloffenstein, and I'm joined today by Raabe, who owns the Tram. We're going to talk in a minute about how she comes up with these fantastic names for our coffee houses, like Virgo Bat and Leo Frog and the Tram, Tramontane. You know, but first I want to give you some headlines, some of the things that are happening this week right here in the Mohawk Valley with arts and entertainment. Now, this Saturday is Independent Bookstore Day. That's the 11th annual celebration of independent bookstores all through the country. It takes place on the last Saturday of April every year. And we have an independent bookstore here called Keaton and Lloyd. It's in Rome. They're going to join us in the next segment. They're going to call in and tell us about some of the events that they're going to have to celebrate the day. And also, there are two plays you can go see this weekend. Utica University has a festival of one acts that were directed by the students. That'll be on Saturday and Sunday at 7:30. And Ilian Little Theater Club will be presenting The Curious Savage on Friday and Saturday at 7:30, and a matinee on Sunday at 2 p.m. If you want more information about any of these events, go to uticaphoenix.net/Media Monday. So, Robin, tell me about this. So, Virgo Bat and Leo Frog, what did that mean? Who were those people? Were one of those people you?
Those characters, the name of Virgo Bat and Leo Frogs, also truncated to VBLPs for those that didn't want to say
right.
Virgo
I remember
Bat
that
and Leo
too,
Frogs. And it was with a P. It was actually just myself and Garrett. We decided we would never want to be a traditional coffee house name such as Java Joe's or
Right.
anything that was traditional. We are non-traditionalists.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. We like making sure that as many creative aspects of our lives and other folks' lives come through. So it's the wonder of what does that mean, or what is that draws our appreciation. So Virgo Bat, I am easily the Virgo, and Garrett is the Leo, and then we just went
So he's the lion.
He's the lion. And then we went graphically through some designs. We had a whole list of other names, but the bat and the frog with a PH, because at the time in the 90s, fish was popular.
Oh, that's
and they
right,
still
yes.
are, of course,
They
but
still
we
are.
decided the PH would work really well. So
Yep.
Virgo Bat and Leo Frogs. We have our original sign, actually, that Garrett hand painted.
Wow.
And it's lasted all this time. It is hanging in the hallway of our Hart Street hallway next to our little
cool.
tiny vintage clothing store, which I still dabble in a little bit
Oh, wait,
at
you
the
still
cafe.
have
I still
that
have
too?
a room in,
Oh, I didn't
in the
realize
cafe with a little bit of vintage clothing, because you can never give that up
Right,
once you
right.
start. So on the wall, the sign for Virgo Bat and Leo Frog still exists.
Now, are bats like your favorite animal, or where did that
Well,
come
they're
in? The
one
frog
of
and
them.
bat?
I am a
Bats are
bats,
great.
cats, and spiders kind of gal.
Nice.
I mean, we just like to, the underdogs, I guess.
Yeah.
Of
Oh,
the
that's a good
world.
way to look at things.
We are the underdogs, and we appreciate the underdogs.
Absolutely.
I still love dogs too. And then Tramontaine Cafe.
Tramontaine. See, I was saying it wrong. So I was
Well, the
Tramontaine.
tram doesn't translate into.
That's why.
Yes.
Right.
So it's Tramontaine.
Tramontaine.
Correct.
Okay.
And actually, this is a fantastic story now for us. We did put names in a hat, and mine was chosen, and Tramontaine was mine. It actually is multiple meanings. It's breeze off the mountains. It's stranger in a strange land. But in reality, the reason it was chosen was it is an instrumental from my favorite band in the whole wide world, which is Foreigner.
Really?
Yes, the band Foreigner.
I know them, but I never heard that song though.
It's an instrumental.
I'll have to look it up.
So we chose that, and we, again, just because we like using names or monikers that aren't as traditional.
Right.
And so what's fantastic is now this year, Foreigner is being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after all this time.
Wow.
So then they started in 1976, and they're finally being recognized. So that's exciting for us as well.
So it's kind of like a good moment for you guys too.
Absolutely.
See, I always thought it had something to do with. I always whenever I hear the word tram,
Correct.
I guess I always think about like public transportation, like
Absolutely.
a shuttle or like the
the buses.
the monorails or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
eventually Garrett does have an 86 Volkswagen Vanagon parked in our parking lot, so that will be on the road in the next few years. And
Well,
we can call it the tram
You
strand.
call that the tram strand.
Absolutely.
And also too, like, I always think of the tram as a place where people like there's activity, there's buzz, people come and go. It definitely has a like feel of a station where things are happening and
Yes,
stuff.
thank
and
you.
the ambiance is really great. Now I'd like you to tell us a little bit about for the people that haven't been there.
Sure.
Like first of all, what's the location and what are the hours?
We are the Tramontaine Cafe. We are located at 1105 Lincoln Ave in Utica. We're just off of the way from Court Street down from Mandeville Street, just before Holy Trinity Church, and now the Bargain Grocer has erected itself across the street from us, which is a fine establishment as well.
I was going to say,
so
it's
we're
a good
directly
location
across
because
from
of that.
the Bargain
Yeah.
Grocer. And we also have 1104 Hart Street.
So
Yeah.
when you
So
say
we have two
11
doors.
Oh, okay, so the building's
So,
the same,
yeah,
just a different location.
Different doors, so you could come in the Hart Street door or the Lincoln Ave door. We are currently open Tuesday through Saturday. At this moment, we are open Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 7:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. That will change a little bit later on, but we are open Thursdays. We are open 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. or later. This Thursday, we have our spoken word poetry comedy open mic night, so we will be open later for that. And Fridays, traditionally, we are open 10 to 4, and Saturdays 10 to 4, unless we have performers or events where we close and then reopen again for those.
Oh, okay. So, like with these 2 days, you do the morning, early morning.
Correct.
Are you getting a big breakfast crowd, or?
Well,
is
we're
that
not specifically known for breakfast. We have a coffee clutch of a few folks that come that asked us to open up early for their group, so we're happy
Yeah.
to do so, and then of course encourage others to join
Oh, that works out
as
good.
well.
Yeah. So tell the listeners about what is it like in there. It has such a unique look.
Right.
It's so like every wall, every square inch of wall space is some cool thing to catch your eye.
Well, I
Can
appreciate that.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, as you had mentioned previously, the show Friends, which is actually, we watched it, we enjoyed it, we liked the coffee house vibe of it as well. We have a few couches, we have chairs, we're now more cafe style, but nothing specifically matches per se, so there's individual chairs for individual people.
Right.
So that's one thing we appreciate. The walls are decorated with appreciations of ourselves, as well as items that were made specifically for the cafe, or we've collected over the years, or have been gifted to us, which we appreciate so much.
There's a big, beautiful sun. Is it paper mache or
The
clay?
paper mache, yeah, it's a paper mache sun that actually traveled with me since
Wow.
1995, I want to
Wow.
say.
From Chansey's to Virgo
From
Bat?
Chansey's to Virgo Bats to now Tramontaine Cafe, and it hasn't lost its luster.
Who made that?
I am not so sure on the person's name. I still need to find that out. It was a local artist made for a different project in the area.
Oh, I see.
We salvaged it and
Yeah.
and saved it from being destroyed.
What a great find, because that is something that is really catches the eye and
Yeah.
makes you think like I'm at the tram when you
Thank
see that big giant sun. So now you were talking about some of the things that you collected. Where do you go to like find stuff to look at new possible things for decor for the walls?
Over the years, along with having the vintage clothing store, it was easy to acquire many items for an impending project of a coffee house or a venue. I've always collected specific dishes, or I've collected plates and such. That's an easy, always go to estate sales, auctions,
Oh,
garage
right.
sales, everywhere. Folks now bring me things that they see that I appreciate, so we've always got a never-ending supply of fun.
You also have like really interesting like plates and
Sure. Well,
glasses
we
and flatware.
a
And
lot
stuff,
of
you know?
we break the norm when it comes to restauranting.
Yeah.
A lot of folks will say solid plates, solid cups, because the food is what shows mostly, but we like
Oh,
to
yeah.
enjoy the whole experience, having multicolored and patterned plates and mugs so we can tailor to a specific person or give them enjoyment.
Oh, that's really
seeing
nice.
something that matches their outfit even.
Oh, nice! I didn't realize you did that.
We
That's
we
really
do
cool.
that subconsciously.
Right, right,
But
right.
we've done that on occasion.
It's so personalized there, you
Right.
know, and like the food, you can really tell that like you made it for a person to eat. If
Right,
that
right.
makes sense,
Well, we
you know?
do take care of
It is
as
hard.
many dietary concerned individuals.
That's
We
for
do
sure.
have vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, dairy-free options as well. But we will say we have just recently made an amaretto bacon latte for one of our good friends, and we put bacon in it, so we're all right. We like bacon too.
So is it really is it difficult to like keep like when you're making food and you have to like have certain ones like without the gluten or without
Right.
dairy
Well, I do.
to keep us how
When
how,
we
how do you keep that
gluten-free items for folks, I can't, we are still a house that has dairy items, or we have
Yeah.
some nuts and other allergy concerned folks,
yeah
but we prepare on a separate cutting board, we prepare on a separate grill, so we have a very small space, but we utilize and take care of folks the best we can, so that we can ensure that the items that they're ingesting will not affect
Now
them.
it gets busy there at times, and like you must have had to like when you were first moved in there and like were redoing it to make a coffee house. What considerations did you have to like think about in terms of like flow, like where the people behind the counter would stand, how do you
Right,
get
right.
from one part to the other to the cash register and stuff?
Absolutely. Well, we do table service during lunch, and then we have a front counter that faces right at the front door of Lincoln Ave. But I always say I've got all my steps walking in circles, because
I'll bet.
everything is done around a central location, and then on the outside, it seems like it's an oval circle as well. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we've got it down now.
Oh well, I was gonna say it is very much down, almost like a fast food. It's
Right,
it's so smooth, you know.
Right.
And
Well,
it
we
doesn't
say
take long to
we're
wet.
quick, but we're not fast food.
Right.
That's
Well, I
one
was gonna,
thing,
you know,
too.
it,
Yeah.
but it's also like I've been to places too, like where they made a lot of special stuff like that, but it would
Right.
take forever to get the
Right,
food.
right,
I
yeah.
like that it doesn't. You know.
Oh, well, we appreciate that
reasonable.
as well. We have learned that certain things, early on in the existence of Tramontaine Cafe, we actually started doing some plate specials, and we had done we even did pizza, but that took a long time.
Oh, I'll bet.
So
right.
we decided to scale back and just use our panini grill to warm
Nice.
things. Yeah.
So the things that are on the wall, what are some of your favorite finds? Some of your favorite things you display? What are
Well,
some of the
it's
things that
tough
like
to
you look
say
at
our
and think, oh,
favorites
that
per
is
se.
us.
But a lot of times we are proponents for rescuing a lot of cats in the neighborhood.
That's
So
right, yes.
we work with Purrs and Whiskers of the
Yeah.
area to support, and we also have cats that we have acquired through there.
Uh-huh.
So we have a photograph that my friend Anna took that is on the wall of Alfred the Grey. He was
that's nice.
an
And it's his
outdoor...
birthday soon too, right? Is that the one whose birthday we're celebrating soon? Or?
Oh, soon, yeah.
Okay.
Alfred was an outdoor kitty. He used to sit on the railing on Hart Street and just look inside, and he was very personable. And
Nice.
so my friend Anna took this photo and blew it up poster size.
Huh.
And so we have that on the wall. There's
Yeah.
pictures of the bands we
So
appreciate.
now he's inside?
He is now
Okay.
primarily inside.
Okay,
so we
okay.
say we have
So
five,
he is
5
welcomed
and
in.
3/4.
He's not just
Yes.
looking out the window.
Oh,
looking
he
in the
is
window.
definitely welcome back. He lives inside now. But we have bands that we have had, and Garrett does a lot of the graphic designs, so you'll see a lot of posters from acts that we have had in the past that are on the walls, or we have this wonderful guitar that was made for us from a friend.
Really?
So, yeah.
And it's hanging on the wall
And it's
too.
hanging on the wall as well.
Well, that's
so.
nice. So now when we come back, we'll talk about the music and the art and the poetry and the zines and all the stuff. People can experience her at the Tram. But right now we have to take a break. You're in the hot seat on a Medium Monday.
This is Cassandra Harris Lockwood, and this is the Hot Seat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the hot seat. I'm Ron Klopfenstein on a Medium Monday. And we are going to hear now from, this Saturday is Independent Bookstore Day. It's the last Saturday of April, and bookstores around, independent bookstores around the country celebrate kind of their independence and how they offer things that, some of the national chains don't, and also kind of the personalized service and getting to know their customers, their community. So let's hear from, we're going to talk to Keaton and Lloyd now, Bookshop in Rome. Well, what they're going to do on Saturday and what they're going to offer to their customers to celebrate this day. So, Julie, welcome to the show.
Hi.
So tell me what the plans are for Saturday.
So we're going to be doing a few different things this Saturday, which is Indie Bookstore Day. It's a day that independent bookstores all over the country are going to be celebrating. But as we are located in Rome's Arts District, we decided we could do something artistic. We're going to be having an art show that is all about book covers, so people can submit artwork until the end of the day, Thursday, of original artwork that is of book covers. You can pick any book you want. I'm really excited to have that on display for 2 weeks starting on Saturday.
What a cool idea! So Saturday will be kind of like the opening for the display.
Yes, so everybody can just come in, take a look during our regular business hours.
Nice. And is there like a prize, or is there just like just doing this to put them on display and to celebrate books, or is there more to go with this, or?
Well, we weren't really planning to do, what do they usually call it when they,
So it's like non-competitive. It's just for a friendly
no,
make
it's
a
just
display.
something fun that people can submit artwork to. That's one of the things we're going to be doing. We're also going to be having Rome Capitol Theater have a table where you can get information about upcoming events, volunteering, joining our Capital Friends program.
Oh, great. And I know one thing that will be happening in your neighborhood this week is on Thursday, Cinema Capital is going to have like a special show with trailers for movies from 2024, so that people can like see some of the films that are out there that are available, and have some say in like what films will be booked for the Cinema Capital for the year.
The trailer shows are really fun. It's been a while since we've done one, but we pick a bunch of trailers for potential movies that we could show in the near future, and you can watch these trailers and vote on which ones you want to see come to Rome.
That's going to be really great. So that's Thursday at Cinema Capital, and also this weekend, they're doing it's sort of like there's like a special day where they're doing like filmmakers, major filmmakers, some of their lesser known films, and Alfred Hitchcock is the person this week who they're going to feature, right?
Yeah, well, actually, the Hitchcock movies, we did them at the cinema for quite a
Friday, I
It starts
think.
this Friday.
Yep. And it's called Buried But Alive. It's this series that you have there.
Yeah, so it's all about Hitchcock and showing some of his lesser known movies. Because, there's a lot that we've kind of all seen, things like Psycho, but
Right.
it was really, really prolific. He did a lot of films that a lot of people don't really realize exist.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's a really good idea because, like, with all the directors and major stars and directors and stuff, there's ones that that people aren't aware of that are really great too, and like it's a kind of a chance to like kind of dust them out and put them to showcase them too. So, can you tell us a little bit about your bookstore, where you're located, what your hours are, and what kind of stuff you have there?
We are the only all-ages independent bookstore in Oneida County. We are at 236 West Dominic Street in Rome, which is just a couple doors down from the historic Capitol Theater. And we are open from Tuesday through Sunday. We are closed on Monday.
And
But
what are
our
the
hours
hours?
are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10:30 to 6.
Mhm.
Friday from 10:30 to 5. Saturday 10:30 to 6. And Sunday from 10:30 to 2.
Great. So, like, if someone's at the Capitol Theater, Cinema Capitol, they can stop down and kind of experience all the different kinds of arts that are available in Rome.
Exactly. There's a lot of stuff you can do downtown, so I highly encourage you to check it out.
Great. Well, someday I'd like to have you on the show too to talk for an hour about the bookstore and independent bookstores, and it's such an important media itself. Books that we sometimes nowadays tend to forget about because of the internet, but books are still really cool.
They are.
Yeah.
I recommend books.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, and we hope a lot of people go to join you there on Saturday for Independent Bookstore Day. And I'll have links to your Facebook page on our website, uticaphoenix.net/Media Monday. And thank you for your time, and have a good time on Saturday.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Bye.
Thank you.
So, Robin. So now, before we look, we're talking a little bit about like the different arts that are on
Absolutely.
performance. So people can buy stuff at the tram. And what are some of the ways that like you guys are using the tram to be a platform or a showcase for locals?
What we've been doing recently, on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, we have opened up portions of the cafe to folks who are creatives and either making jewelry or who have written books, who have done crafts.
Dog biscuits too,
Dog
I think,
biscuits
right?
were this past Saturday. We do pop-up shops.
Oh, right.
So we've had folks with antiques and vintage clothing and other supplies, mostly a lot of jewelers and creatives. We've had artists.
The whole
come in.
pop-up shop thing is
Yes.
kind of cool because that's something like down in the city you'd see more of that, but not much around here. Like where a little store just like pops up with another store, and you can buy stuff that like you wouldn't normally be able to walk into a store and buy.
Right. It's also helpful for those folks who don't have a storefront or are thinking
Right.
about it to see what kind of feedback they can get. In addition to it's a collaborative and a cooperative event, whereas we ask that those folks promote to their friends and we promote to our friends, and so everybody learns about both businesses and shares the excitement of what's happening in the cafe.
So it's
as
like a
well as
real
the
win-win kind of thing here too.
Absolutely.
And in addition to that, of course, there's poets and Natalie from our station. She's performed there.
Yep,
and
Natalie
musicians.
was last year's poet laureate, which was fantastic.
That's right.
So this is April is also National Poetry Month.
Oh yeah, tell us
So
about that.
This Thursday we have our spoken word poetry comedy open mic night. There are 2 rounds. Doors are at 6. There's a $3 entry, and it showcases a lot of local independent folks that come. I know that our friends have written books, have them for sale as well in the case at the tram. So that's where we share a lot of.
That's a valuable thing too, because you think like where around here could you go to see a poem read by the person who wrote that and like
Right.
performed and like kind of like a
Absolutely.
poetry slam, at the tram is one of the few places you can do that.
So Lou Santa Croce
From our station too.
From
Yeah.
your station is an avid performer. So this Saturday on our music open mic night, Lou has performed for us there. His lady friend Jess Sabo, she has performed at our spoken word poetry comedy open mic night because she is writing a book as well.
Really?
So we encourage a lot of folks to do so.
It's so great. So that people can almost kind of like workshop their art.
Right, and get feedback.
From actual people
in a
and stuff.
non-threatening environment.
I was gonna say it's a very like laid back, welcoming place.
Right,
So
absolutely.
it's a great place for people maybe to perform maybe for the first time or to,
Correct.
and also to like see some other kinds of performance that maybe you hadn't seen before.
Right,
so.
right. We encourage all original performances. Our performer on Friday, Noah Dinerstein, traditionally does cover songs, but he is happy to be performing at a venue that accepts and appreciates 100% original material,
Oh,
and
right,
that's what we
yeah.
promote primarily.
So, like, do people like him, like the artists, do they reach out to you, or do you go cultivate them, or is it just that it kind of grows out of the community?
It absolutely grows out of the community. It's a lot of word of mouth or word of internet now.
Yeah.
Folks will come perform, or they will see other friends of theirs perform, and they will reach out to us mostly. We have seen some performers that we've cultivated and asked to come play. A lot of folks, national or regional, that we have heard of, have contacted us to perform, so we have
Nice.
booked them as well.
So now, you talked about the social media, and right, you use that a great deal to like promote
Right,
yourself,
right.
and it's been effective for you.
We're in 30 years in the making. We've been trying to work on our website. We're working there soon that'll happen as well.
Well, we'll have a link as soon as you'll give
Yes,
me a link. I'm
But
sure.
we are social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram, and we do our best to promote each other as well as what's all of our events that are happening and other things that are being sold at the cafe. We have CDs. We have handmade.
Oh, you do. You have
We
music too.
folks still sell CDs. We
Yeah.
have CDs. We have books. We have cards. We have a lot of
Zines.
Zines.
Yes.
A wonderful friend of ours, Raven Wormwood, created a zine. We also have their artwork. We're selling their zine as well, and they're a member of our Utica Poet Society that comes on Thursdays.
Tell me about that. The Utica
Well,
Poet Society.
that is what we call it. There is a group of folks that are regulars that come to the tram for poetry night. So
Now, is it a
and that's
weekly thing?
Well, actually, I was just going to mention that's an every other Thursday
Okay.
event. So on the opposite Thursday, we encourage folks to bring their board games. So it's a
Oh,
board
I
game
love
night.
that.
So on
Okay.
the Thursday that it's not poetry, it's board games, card games.
And you have some of your own board games too, though.
Absolutely.
Because I think I played a game there once. I bought it. It was called. I think it's called Zeus on the Loose.
Oh wow!
It's a
Yes.
card game,
Okay.
kind of like with math. You can put the cards on, get up to like a factor of 10. You get to steal Zeus. And
Right. We have had chess tournaments in the past.
Oh wow!
We are looking to add those again. I am more of a backgammon player. I can walk away.
You have to teach me sometime because I've always wanted to learn that.
Right.
Yeah. So backgammon is something that you enjoy.
So backgammon
Yeah.
is one that I can play because my concentration, I'm always paying attention to what's happening in the cafe.
Oh, that's
so I
that's
can
right,
walk
yeah.
away from it and go back again.
Yeah. So now I've seen puppet shows there
Absolutely.
too.
The
I
Guild
think,
of Thespian Puppets, which Garrett
Garrett's-
is a
that's
member
right,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mike Betray has
that is
created
really
them.
cool thing to see. It's a puppet show, like a
Absolutely.
well-done puppet
We're
show.
hoping to have another show soon in the summer for everyone to enjoy.
You have to let me know when that is.
Most
I will
definitely.
promote that. I really would like to see that because I saw a little bit of the last one and I was like, this is really cool. This is-
Absolutely. And Mike Betray creates all of the puppets used in the puppet shows.
Wow. And you really, what's so great about the tram is that, or Tramontane.
Tramontane.
Tramontane. Okay. What is so cool about that is like you see things there that like you wouldn't get to see at other places. You know, like the puppet shows and the poetry and all this stuff, and it's such an experience. Like as well as the food and the coffee and the camaraderie and stuff. And
thank you. Well, that's what we've strived for, is to be an all-inclusive, all-encompassing, and all-welcoming environment.
it certainly is. And you must get a lot of good feedback from the customers about
Absolutely.
that kind of
We
stuff.
ask folks all the time what they would like to see, what we are doing, and what they would like to eat. There are certain things that I've made because of other folks and their appreciations for food. I personally would never eat a tuna sandwich with olives on it and tomatoes, but that's why we have the tram tuna milk.
But I would, so I'll have to come and get one of those.
Exactly. So that
It's
is-
gluten free especially. So.
Yep, and we have gluten-free options for bread.
I was just saying the gluten-free food that you have is really good. Like it tastes as good as if it were not. You know, and
Yes.
that to me as a gluten-free guy, that is like my highest compliment.
Thank
Is
you.
if I eat the food and I don't think, oh, this is gluten-free. Like if I can forget about that while
For
I'm eating
just
the
a
food,
moment. Well, we
then-
do baked goods. I traditionally
Wait, your brownies
use,
and cookies
right. I
gluten-free?
traditionally use Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 flour when I'm baking, using our
That's
recipes
good stuff.
to
Yeah.
do gluten-free. I
Now-
don't do that all the time, but there are often times.
Right, and you know, I've never been there once where there wasn't something I could eat, and there wasn't something that was good. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever you have. Like I think people are always happy with what's there because there is a variety and stuff. And
Thank
now, what's your day like? On a day when you are open and you got to cook, is this like you get up in the morning and just start chopping stuff, and you know,
Well,
measuring
do it-
stuff,
yeah,
and you know,
so
preheating, all this
traditionally
stuff.
I'm up around 5:40, 5:30, 5:40. Gotta feed the cats first.
right, of course.
And then go downstairs and start making sure that all of the salads are done, all of the sandwiches are prepped. We slice our own meats and cheeses, deli slices, so we do that as well, making sure, because we have potato salad, pasta salad, and
That must take
macaroni
a while to
salad,
get
so
all that
yeah,
together,
getting all
too.
that together. Luckily, we
Yeah.
can make enough for a couple of days and we're good.
Yeah, and then I imagine like then you open and it's like nonstop, and then you close. It's probably a lot of work on the other back end and clean it all up
Right.
too.
Folks
So
that never realize that you open early and you close
Stay
late. You
late.
stay late. It's always, that's the tradition.
how
in
many
being in
hours a
business.
week would you estimate that you put into this? I'm sure it's
At one
7
point-
days a week for work wise at least.
It's 6 3/4. I try really
try to take a
hard
little bit off,
to take
yeah.
a little bit of time off.
And look, this is like your afternoon
yeah,
off, and
this
you're
is-
here promoting it, so you're working again.
Right, absolutely. Monday is my prep day, so I'm cutting into some of my prep work. But traditionally, in the past, I have done about 100 hours a week. It depends.
I'm not surprised. I'm really not, because I mean, I can. If you go there and you see all the different kinds of foods, you can imagine like how much work it must be. To,
Right.
Like,
Luckily, I
ready
have a
to
couple
go.
of friends that are nice enough to come in because all of our food stuff is prepared on site. So sometimes we'll have a special soup or a special baked good that some of my friends will come in and prepare there.
Oh, some people help with that as well.
Every
too,
once in
so,
a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, is there something any like do you change up what you do like when it gets to be by the season, like in summertime, are there different kinds
No,
of
you
events? or-
can always get a pumpkin spice latte in
Oh,
August.
hey.
You can get it in July. You can
You
get
get
it
pumpkin
anytime,
spice all year round.
all year
here.
round at the tram. So,
That is definitely a draw. So
Yeah, absolutely. And you can get a mint milkshake anytime
hey,
as
it
well.
doesn't have to be St. Patrick's Day.
It doesn't. So that's another reason.
So I
why
can go there and get a
appreciate it.
Shamrock Shake whenever. I don't have to worry.
Absolutely.
We just don't probably call it that. But
No,
it's like a-
we
you
would
know.
call it a mint milkshake.
You would know what I was
Yes,
talking about.
Which we
right
also
there.
have dairy-free options. So
Wow.
we can do milkshakes and smoothies. That is something we added to the menu most recently upon opening is fresh fruit smoothies. So we put together different smoothies that folks
I
can
bet that's a lot of
appreciate.
chopping
Absolutely.
and washing, a lot
Yeah.
of work as well for
Yes.
like everything you add. It must be a lot of extra work. To,
Sure,
But
but
it's
we want to make sure
worth
we
it.
have things for folks.
I was gonna say because you have this spectacular food. You have all these artists and performers who come in. You have stuff you can buy, food, but also like works of art.
Merchandise, yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
to like support other people doing stuff, and the ambiance is great. And tell us one more time where you are
Absolutely.
and what your hours are.
So the Tramontaine Cafe, primary address is 1105 Lincoln Ave in Utica. We don't say West Utica, we don't say downtown. We're in the Arts District is
Yes.
one of the monikers that folks like to use. So we are in the
I
Arts
like
District near West. So we are open Tuesday through Saturday, unless we have special events. We're open 7:30 in the morning Tuesday, Wednesday till 4 p.m. Thursday we are open 10 to 8, and then Friday and Saturday 10 to 4 unless there are special events, and then we're open later, of course, as always.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Robin and Raabe from the Tramontaine, or the Tram. Thank you for joining us, listeners.
Thank
This
you
has been
very
a
much.
Hot Seat Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfenstein, and now I'm going to hand it over to Jay Easy with the Easy Ride Home.
Hey, what's up?